I like to see the unconventional, casual banter be part of the show. No, I think it makes it more real and,
Yes, it's
you
very
know,
entertaining.
with the, I mean, TikTok's been around what, 8, 10 years? How long has it been around?
Oh, wow. I'm not
I think it's
sure.
fostered that.
Mm. Huh.
No, if you knew how many hours I spend a day on TikTok, you would have me extradited to the Philippines or something. It's obs-
Where you would
That's
continue
obscene.
to TikTok.
Yes. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're Lourdes. Your
I'm
husband's name is
Lourdes.
Rob. Your husband's name is Rob. You guys
Yes.
have kids?
We have two kids. One of them is
All right.
38, and our daughter, who
Okay.
is still at home, is 31. And
All
I'm
right.
not one of those parents who at 18 said, get out of my life, kid, and go live your life. I don't believe in that. I
Hmm.
believe that I birthed these people, and regardless of their age, if I'm still living, even if I'm not, I will leave them a place to live. But if
Hmm.
I am living, they are welcome to live in one of our rooms anytime.
You're, you're still their mom and you love them and you're there for
Mhm.
them. And
Yeah. Yeah. And
all right.
a lot
Well,
of my daughter's friends from high school ended up homeless because of turning 18, and they are still homeless, 12 years later.
no kidding. That's
Yeah.
sad. Now, what
Isn't
school
it?
would they have went to? Sacramento High School or what?
No, this would have been Valley High School. And a lot of people had that sort of, oh, when you're 18, it's time to fly, which I think
Yeah.
some
No.
people make it, but a lot of people don't.
Well, and in this economy, in this society, people who were formerly doctors and cardiologists are working at gas stations, trying to
Right.
make ends meet.
Right. And there's a lot of need. And so I think what I am here to do is to connect with people who believe in mission-based housing. And mission-based
Oh.
means we don't plan on housing people for 60 days or 90 days or even a year. We plan to make
Permanent
a
housing.
permanent housing. But if there are people who want to
Okay.
stay a year and are in the position to own a home, we would like to help them
All right.
transition to that when we are there.
All right.
Yes, yes.
Well, good for you.
Thank you.
Good
And
for
so
you. Go
lately,
ahead. Uh-huh.
there's a lot of money that has been poured into housing people through the CalAIM program, enhanced care management. But what I'm seeing
Okay.
is the one lady that I hired to work for us, I met her at camping out outside of City Hall. She landed in one of these apartments, but
Right.
she only has rental help until June. At the end of the fiscal
Uh,
year, the funding goes away that helps
no.
subsidize that unit. And
Oh, that's sad.
so we want to do things differently, Mark. We want to create life-changing opportunities, not momentary changes. To
Right.
me, I think it's a waste to get these millions of dollars, put them into a program that is ending next month or in 2 months or what have you, because people need more than that. And what are we doing except for putting a band-aid on a gaping wound? We're
Yeah.
not doing anything.
I know.
And I don't like the short-sightedness of
Well,
this mentality.
I'll
We
remind you that politicians are in fact politicians.
indeed,
Everything they
indeed,
do that they try to make look like they're doing it for other people is actually very self-serving. So
yes,
making a short-term housing project just to get their name in lights with the word housing next to it is, what a politician would do.
And I've seen so much of that, even not as much from the politicians, but from the agencies. I,
Okay,
I used to work for one of the agencies here in town.
right.
They were a nonprofit in housing, and they were, they did the bare minimum, Mark, just to be able to pat themselves on the back and
Yes,
say, look at what I did. Do you
that's
see my
what I'm saying.
hustle?
Yeah,
How I housed these people? No
yeah,
one went to look at the fact that they're on the streets
yeah, no, I
months
understand.
later, but they got to
Yeah,
pat themselves on the back. And it was insulting to me. And I just thought, okay, so I see what you're doing here. You want to house people, you want to go evicting at a whim, right? At a whim. And this agency
yeah,
evicted a
yeah,
9 month pregnant lady, 9 month pregnant lady. And she went to the
yeah,
news, which I'm glad she did. And they closed down this
yeah. Okay.
agency. And so I'm really tired of that sort of short-sightedness. And I get it that they're politicians and they want to be elected.
Yeah,
And once they're in, they don't do anything. That's sort of typical from what I've seen in the politicians.
yeah.
But there's a real deep need for change and helping people to thrive in a way that is sustainable.
Well, and one of the steps that we can do, you and I, as ordinary folks, you're reminding me I went and finally got some coffee. I made it 2 or 3 hours ago. I just never had enough strength to pour it.
Oh,
I should
darn.
have a caffeine drip. One of the things that we can do is to talk about it on a podcast.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, I mean, I read somewhere on TikTok the other day
Yes.
that if 3.5% of the population get behind a certain idea rather vigorously, then that idea has a very high chance of becoming national law. So
Mm,
we're doing this still state by state, but a lot of
yeah,
changes that came about, abolition of slavery and a lot of things started state by state.
true.
So we're here and we'll say, we want long-term solutions, not temporary solutions.
Right.
And did I ever remember? Yes, I did. Thank God. To
You
restart
are
this.
recording, my dear.
Can you tell on your end?
Yes,
Can you? Does it show you something on the
I
screen?
get a little pop-up that says this event is being recorded.
Oh,
It
okay.
does. And then I
Good.
click OK for it to go away. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So I want to tell you
All
about
right.
something very
Well,
exciting to me.
we
On
got we
May,
got a whole 20 minutes or 25 minutes.
all right, all right.
Go ahead.
On May 19th, we're having Yimby Day. YIMBY. Yes, in my backyard. Yes, in my backyard. So here, Sacramento is the capital of the state, as we know, and they're having an event, YIMBY event, a legislative event, so that we meet the legislators. I'm going to print up a couple of T-shirts with alternative housing and yes in my backyard, and myself and one of the board members are attending. And anyone who is interested in talking to the legislators, meeting them, seeing what they're fighting for and aligning with their plans, please attend YIMBY Day, California YIMBY Day at the California State Capitol,
Now, is it
Sacramento,
only in
California.
Sacramento or is it every major city?
I know it's in Sacramento because I will be there. But that is a good question, Mark. Let me write that down so I can check that out,
Well,
find out.
the public probably knows too.
Okay. But yes, so that's very exciting because right now the programs that are out there, Mark, like the grant funding, I'm talking high dollar
Yeah,
funding,
yeah.
is earmarked for people that are seasoned developers in a stick build model. So the
Huh.
traditional model, the
Oh, I
traditional model
see.
of building.
Okay. Which really doesn't help.
But they're the only
Uh,
ones who can afford to pay. Um, that's right. It really doesn't help the need. So we as a small agency cannot afford to pay prevailing wage to a contractor, and that is what these contracts require a developer to be able
Mm,
to do. So they things need to change so that incremental development can be supported more. And
right.
there is an incremental development group called IncDev,
There
IncDev,
is. There is?
IncDev. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Ah. Hmm.
But they're you can join them and learn how to incrementally develop, which I'm looking forward to joining them, but not right now. I have to have a property at least, at very minimum, so that they can guide along the processes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and we're not there yet. But so these places, these agencies are looking to incentivize the build for the incremental developer.
Okay.
And they're looking at like townhomes, uh, modulars, but more multifamily, like complexes or um, duplexes, quads, 6 unit buildings, this sort of
Okay.
built, but
All right.
in smaller quantities. Instead of going for a 50 unit, you're doing six or maybe two duplexes,
Right.
which equals four. And so that
Right.
is happening, but a lot of the funding needs to be funneled toward the incremental developer because we're
Okay.
the ones who are truly going to make a difference. For us, for
Right.
example, every piece
Well,
of
and I
property we
think
own, we're
there's
going to
more
put into a
people who
perpetual
can
land
commit to
trust so that it
incremental
can never
than
be on the speculative market.
right. Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so more of us are included where when the grants and grant funding is for these large developers, it's a monopoly, the game.
Yeah.
And so then that is what I plan to talk about to the legislators,
Okay. All right.
that
Good.
the grant funding and policy needs to be opened up to be more inclusive of all developers, including aspiring developers. And the truth is,
Okay.
Mark,
All right.
if I learn how to retrofit a shipping container home, I can develop you a 1 bedroom, 1 bath for 10 grand. $10,000, Mark.
Oh,
10
wow.
grand. And the person would be the renter, but the land would not be touched. It would be under trust for safekeeping from the speculative market.
All right. Okay. Well, good.
So
Uh,
we will change this world, Mark. We're just taking baby steps
we're
because that's what
trying.
it
We're
has
trying,
taken,
Lourdes. We're
unfortunately.
sitting here doing this
Yes,
podcast, hoping that
yes.
some billionaire sees it and goes, "Oh, shucks. Hey, Martha, you know that 700 trillion I've got? Send a
Right.
million and a half to this Lourdes lady.
Yes, that would
That
be
would
a
do it.
great
That would
blessing.
help, you know."
But even if it's $1.53, we welcome it with open arms. And we would
Yeah,
thank
no,
anyone.
and I like that you said that because, a lot of people, if we talk to them and we say, look, can you afford $1.53? Some people are going to be hard pressed to look you in the eye and say, oh no, I can't afford that.
Right,
But if you
right.
had if you had 1,000 people doing, I mean, there's 360 million people in the United States.
Yes.
You had only 1,000 of them each doing that, you'd be somewhere. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone is welcome, but it will take, the truth is, Mark, I have the vision. I am the visionary, but I need the support of your audience
well, I hope you do,
to
and I'm
make it come to
glad.
fruition.
Yes. But the other thing I want to
And
I want to support you by saying is this. Your act of starting a nonprofit to help with housing and your act of getting on here or doing anything you do in a week or a month helps promote the idea that this needs to get done.
yes.
So I've worked, like when I worked at the TV station, I did one show a month for 19 years. So, however many nonprofits that is, because I did almost exclusively nonprofits.
Wow.
Some of those people, their nonprofit never amount to anything.
Right.
But that person had spent 7 or 8 years talking about, we have to save the Eagles or we have to do this or that. And those words went out of the universe and made a
Yeah.
difference to the point where some little
Yes.
girl, not joking, some little girl right now might be sitting at home, 5 or 6 years old, watching this. And she goes, Mommy, can I someday help about housing?
Hmm.
And the mother might say, Sure, honey, you can do that.
Right.
Your dad and I will
Right.
help you get the right education or whatever.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
trying to change the world for better instead of what
Yes.
some people are doing nowadays, which is actively trying to change the world for worse. We're doing the best we can do,
Yes.
you and I. So
Correct.
we're asking the public, I'm not joking. Think of $1.53
Hmm.
per month.
Yes.
Get with Lourdes. It's called what's it called again? Alliance.
Alternative Housing Alliance.
And do you have a phone number or do you have
We
maybe
do. We
an
do. It
outhouse
is.
we can leave a message on the door or something?
We have a phone number which is 530
Okay.
488
Okay.
9768.
All
Again,
right, good. Okay.
530 488 9768. I want to tell you something before we end the show, Mark.
Yeah, yeah,
Last
no, go ahead.
week, last week I interviewed a Jane Doe who I met camping outdoors outside of City Hall.
All
And,
right.
we interviewed her, made a video. It's my very first video. I had someone helping me because when I'm nervous or have too much going on, I will forget things. And so I had someone helping,
I
but
know I'm the
we
same way.
interviewed her
Yep.
because since I met her out there, she became our first employee. I offered her employment as an
Okay.
office assistant. We don't have much
Very
work
nice.
for her to do, but as soon as we
That's
do,
great.
she is
Yep.
willing to sign on.
Yep.
And I don't know if we can use any parts of the clips here on your show, but I would like to send that to you so you can check it out.
Well, you can help me figure it out. I used to have a helper at Fiverr, so we can either recreate it, we can put you and her on the screen, or I can get back in touch with Fiverr. I haven't talked to them for 5 years,
Oh, shoot.
but no, but there are people at Fiverr who can help with such a thing.
Okay, okay.
They will
Because I do
charge
not
us
know how to
something, but
separate clips. Sorry.
no, I don't. I can barely spell the word clip, let alone. No, I have never, like I said, I've been in TV since 2001. I have never edited anything
Ah,
ever. I don't
oh.
edit. I tried editing once and I think I threw up on the keyboard. So, yeah. So tell us a little more about this lady. You want to give her name is Jane Doe.
Yes, her name is
Us.
Jane Doe. I was doing outreach with an assistant that I had at the time, Rachel. We were
Okay.
downtown just talking to the people who were out camping, getting their story, getting their situation. What happened?
Right.
What brought them to there? And so I met this lady who was sweeping around her tent, and she
Right.
had a little a dustpan, so she's sweeping her area and helping her neighbor to keep his area clean. And so I stopped and talked to her and said, what are you doing today? She said, everyone thinks that people who are homeless are dirty. And I am not a dirty person. My circumstances brought me to homelessness, but I want to change the way people look
Yeah.
at us. And so I got her
Yeah. Good.
information. I got her information, and that area was swept about a week later. And we lost
I'll
contact
be.
for about 3 years. Then I
Oh,
got a call from her, and by then, she was in transitional housing that she had found.
right. Right.
So she was in transitional and she was doing a little bit of work for us. But then I started working as a W-2 employee and that ended. But I have been wanting to for a long time record her story, find out what brought her to that place. And again, if the government or if we as the communities don't do something to help people who are in a unit who do not qualify by finances to be in that unit,
Right.
they will lose their housing again and once
Right.
again
Right.
end up on the streets, being swept, by the city to different places.
Yeah.
She told
No,
us
it
in this video
happens
that
here
one
all the
time
time.
one of those
Yeah.
bulldozers ran over a person. And so that
Yeah.
is,
No,
it's commonplace, not common, not running over someone, but the fact that they get a little bit of notice to find a new place to camp, a safe place, and then they come through and bulldoze everything.
oh, they do it here all the time. I lived in San Diego for
Yes,
50 years.
yes, yes.
The other thing about this is because I do try to study more internationally. I always have tried, but I'm increasing it a little bit. The United States has a big housing and homelessness problem. A lot of countries, well, not a lot, but at least a handful, solve this problem in a different way. But the United States is not ever going to do
Correct.
that. We're not
But
going to give people houses
there's
or
too much
money.
greed.
So we as a nation have to learn. Number one, we have to learn, okay, there is housing, but there is
Hmm.
homelessness.
Yes.
Let's all, when we in this country get our hearts in the right place and put our minds to it, and I'll use slavery
Mm.
because I love African American people. Talk about ending slavery happened before the Constitution ever started. There were people who signed, can't remember the one guy's name, but he signed the Constitution. But before he ever signed it, a couple years before it started, he wrote in his diary, this thing of us owning other people. And it took from, say, 1760 to 1860, took about 100 years for people to get a clue that we need to
Wow.
end slavery. So
Yeah.
I'm saying, get a clue, spend 3 minutes a month trying to help with homelessness. And
Yes.
before I forget, I want to challenge you guys. Think about this number, $1.53. Please consider, I'm not joking. Please consider sending monthly. Put it in your damn checkbook. $1.53
Yeah.
to the group here, whose name I
Yes.
constantly forget.
No worries.
But I'm saying if enough of you do that, this the alliance will have a little more money. A
Yes.
dollar 53. You cannot sit there and tell me that you don't have $1.53. So, you know,
Yes. Yes. Very
anyway.
true.
All right. So,
Well, before we leave, I have one joke.
okay.
Guess what I aspire to be?
I don't know. What do you aspire to be?
I aspire to be a pimp.
Ha ha!
You know what a
I
pimp
almost
is?
I almost said something last show about one way to make money is for us to, but then I thought, now I better not.
I better explain myself. A PIP,
Oh,
a
okay. Oh,
PMP is a project management professional.
oh my God. Well, I was thinking of the other kind where we could just, you
I'm too
want to
old.
volunteer for this group? I got some really interesting work you can do for us.
Very horizontal.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. We're a vertical company, but we're also very horizontal. All right. God bless you,
Yes.
Lourdes.
Thank you.
And I'll see you tomorrow, right?
Thank you, Mark. Yes, you will. Same
I'll
time,
see you
same
tomorrow.
place.
All right. God bless. All
All
right,
right. God
folks.
bless.
Dollar
Wonderful day, everyone.
53. All right, bye-bye.
Take
Take care.
care.
All right, bye-bye. All right, folks.